so does she.
You're right. That's why what you're doing is so very important to my client.
Hillary starts out with 47% of the vote, and that's just the truth, the reality. The Republicans better get a hold of. It's not going to be easy. But I would say this: I do think that there can be improvements to make it a little bit more fair, transparent, and more participatory. That's the only thing that I'm looking at. To me, that's somewhat troublesome to me is that I think the people should vote in caucus. End of sentence, and there shouldn't be any alternative short of that.
Well, here's the only reason I would support the nominee. But the process will weed itself out, and it will be the person who was chosen by.
It's going to be interesting to watch. Thank you all for doing this. Appreciate it. 891 Sean, toll free telephone number. If it's confusing, it is confusing. That's the problem. This establishment makes it confusing. Anyway, hey, listen, 5 men in Broward County, Florida, convicted, running one of the largest tax refund frauds ever exposed in the U.S. Now, hiding behind a startup rap music recording label, the men filed tens of thousands of income tax returns, all using stolen identities, many belonging to average citizens, resident workers, prisoners. Years to resolve it. LifeLock scans hundreds. You're gonna love it. Blue Apron knows that when you make incredible meals, so they can set up a higher quality standard. Suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron brings you the best. And for less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Check out this week's menu, and you get 2 meals free with free shipping just by going to blueapron.com/. You're gonna love how it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. Don't wait. It's blueapron.com/Canada. Blue Apron. Cook and live.
QL1, this is Control. Does Rocket Mortgage require me to fill out a bunch of paperwork? That's negative control. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is the first on-demand mortgage machine that quickly and seamlessly imports your financial data. You can go through the entire mortgage process on your own and completely online. Do you think they're out there? They're out there, all right. I made contact before.
certificate of appreciation, the Muskego Norway School Board hereby commends Carly Lundahl for participating in the elite, highly competitive Andrew State Science and Engineering Fair. The Muskego Norway School Board additionally commends Carly for winning the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Research Award, Stockholm Junior Water Prize, the Philip Strike Memorial Award, and second place in environmental sciences. Through this achievement, Carly has brought honor not only to herself, her family, but to the Muskego Norway and community as well. The Muskego Norway School Board wishes Carly success in her future education and career endeavors. Presented this 18th day of April 2016 and is signed by the board officers. So you can tell I never got any of these awards because I couldn't pronounce them. Danielle? So we have two awards for you, and the Daniel is to be commended for his innovative project, Evasive Species Boat Wash. The Muskego Norway School Board additionally commends Daniel for earning the CM Hill Award for Best Environmental Engineering Project and the Wisconsin Young Scientist Award. Congratulations. Daniel is to be commended for his innovative project, Evasive Species Boat Wash as well, and looks like you got the same awards as him, so congratulations.
So then, people are here. Do you think any of these ones are here?
Is Adam Carba in here? No? Or Anthony?
No, or no?
Congratulations. We can get a photo op with you guys, so.
We are pleased to present our 2016 winners for this session.
Mr. Peterson will give a little background on the award.
So Dr. Thompson and I are extremely excited to share with the board, members of our audience and community, the 6 recipients of the Compass Award for this school year. Before doing so, I'd like to share a little more about the Compass Award itself. The purpose of the Compass is to reinforce and recognize staff who, through their commitments and contributions, ensure that every student is learning, growing, and succeeding. Our mission within our system. Specifically, the Compass honors staff members who meet designated criteria in the following areas. 1, positive impact on students. 2, positive impact on staff, parents, and/or the community. 3, commitment to continuous improvement, leadership, and/or service. And 4, champions for innovation, creativity, and/or best practice. So essentially, through the Compass Award, parents, students, and staff have an opportunity to nominate Muskego Norway staff members who exemplify the qualities mentioned previously. The nomination process includes a minimum of 3 individuals who contribute in writing to document and documenting how the staff member meets the criteria. A team of administrators and staff members, Compass Award recipients from the prior year, review the many nominations and meet to determine who the recipients will be. That team surprises then the recipients at their school. We did this on March 22nd, prior to spring break. in the presence of students and or staff, if possible, to share with them that they are a Compass recipient. It is a time of great surprise, excitement, and celebration for our students, staff, administrators, and recipients. Those recipients receive recognition at a board meeting, which is right now, here in the moment. They're invited to an end-of-year luncheon, which will be on June 10th, and will be recognized in front of all Muskego-Lenore staff members on this day. So at this point, Kelly and I would like to recognize the 2016 Compass recipients. After I get done reading all 6, could we please give them a round of applause? Karen Lindholm Rinkowitz, Scott Berry, Mark Nagy, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, Bob George, and Team Volkman Schmidt, which comprises of Drew Volkman and Lori Schmidt. Let's give them a hand. So what we'd like to do now is to just recognize each one of the Compass recipients by pulling direct quotes or lines from the nominations of the people that did nominate them. And then we'll present them with a certificate this evening. And just so the Compass recipients know, we're going to keep you waiting until June 10th, the luncheon, before you actually receive the real Compass. You have to come back for more. But we do have nameplates that actually will go on in the lobby. There's a plaque in the lobby to recognize you also. Those will go up this evening after the school board meeting. So, to begin, let's speak to Karen Lindholm Rinkowitz. Karen is a Muskego High School tech-ed teacher who was nominated by colleagues from both the high school and the middle school. Karen has consistently demonstrated a positive impact on students through providing real-world learning experiences, coordinating meetings with students and engineers to work on real-life projects, and engaging reluctant learners. Her positive impact on staff, parents, and the community includes her organization and deployment of parent-student engineering information nights and hosting project development nights for staff in the community. Karen demonstrates a commitment to continuously growing herself as she continues to seek Project Lead the Way certifications. She also co-authored a grant to find alternative sources of revenue to purchase expensive equipment to support student learning and engineering. Congratulations, Karen.
I have the pleasure to talk about Scott Berry, who is a Muskego High School science teacher. He was nominated by current and previous students. He demonstrates his positive impact on students through his strong support for students in and out of the classroom. He's innovative, and he is very student-focused and centered when he is deploying his instructional practices. He leads the weekend AP practice exams and conducts a flipped classroom experience in order to support students in their learning journey. Students shared that he has the ability to actually encourage students to love learning chemistry. That is great. He's also described as a cheerleader of sorts, always encouraging students both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. Mr. Berry surveys his students each year and uses those responses to get better at his own craft of teaching and improve the learning experiences for students. He recently created and implemented a new course, Accelerated Chemistry, in an effort to better prepare students for advanced chemistry courses. Mr. Berry also creates podcasts that allow students to learn in a different format and different venue. So we are very proud of his nomination and excited to award Mr. Berry with one of the 2016 Compass Awards.
Excited to speak on behalf of Mark Nagy, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight. Mr. Nagy Nagy is a Lake Danube Middle School science teacher who was nominated by his colleagues. On a daily basis, Mark ensures that all students are engaged in learning and they are committed, and he is committed to his own growth through a partnership with building level instructional coaches. He has a positive impact on students through his ability to make supportive connections with students who have been disengaged in school in the past. Mr. Nagy creates a positive, hands-on, supportive learning environment in which he shows strong empathy for students and listens to their needs. His commitment to coaching, another thing that he does, has allowed him to extend his impact beyond the classroom. Mark supports other educators by mentoring new staff. He provides first aid training, and he's a leader in development of science curriculum and review of science curriculum and staff development work across our system. Congratulations to Mr. Nagy.
Next up is our fine Bob George, who is our head custodian at Test Corners. He was nominated by colleagues in our system, so thank you for those nominations. As head custodian, many students know him just from seeing him in the hallways and things like that. But he has a very strong positive impact on students through two clubs that he actually leads. The first is called Power Rangers, and the other is Inspector Gadget. So these are led by him with students. So in the Power Rangers, students learn ways to support energy savings in the system. And for students engaged in Inspector Gadget, they build understanding about safety issues within a working environment. Mr. George also supports the Reading Intervention Program by providing support to a struggling reader. Since Mr. George took his role, there have been no lost time work injuries at Test Corners. The staff satisfaction in custodial support has also increased since he took on a leadership role. His response time to closed work orders is one of the strongest in the system, and he is committed to growing himself as evidenced in receiving his facilities manager certification from the Department of Public Instruction. So congratulations, Mr. George, on being a 2016 Compass recipient.
I'm excited to introduce you to Team of Volkman Schmidt. They did make a comment coming in saying how disappointed they were that they had to leave their graduate class early this evening. Drew and Lori are actually the district's first team to be nominated for and to receive the Compass. They were nominated by parents. Drew and Lori teach together in a personalized learning classroom at Muskego Elementary, serving 3rd and 4th grade students in a multi-age setting. They have a positive impact on students through their commitment to personalized and differentiated learning for every student, including our advanced learners. As a team, Drew and Lori build confidence in their learners to perform at high. They create an environment for success, and they ensure students are equipped with the skills and abilities to set and monitor goals for their own growth. They are committed to parent input and partnerships, engaging parents through blogs, Twitter, and email, and hosting events for parents to see student learning in action. Drew and Lori are part of the district's committee. Lori, alongside other district staff, are ways to implement personalized learning within the classroom and integrating technology into all parts of the student day. Please join me in congratulating Team Volkman Schmidt. Verbal recommendation.
The photo. to share a couple of other things. So if you want to transition, get things set up, I have two just announcements to make. The first is that we're proud that the Class of 8 also awarded our Mosquito High School girls varsity and the wrestling team with sportsmanship award. So congratulations on that recognition. And then also, just so you know, I'll be out of the district on May 5th through 7th. I'll be attending the WASDA, the Wisconsin Association of School District Administrators, presenting on growing ourselves and our teams, effective evidence-based leadership in the senior government school district. So, that's just to let you know it's rowdy. So, Tilt team, who's leading? Emily? All right, wonderful.
We're ready. So we are the Technology Integration and Library team. And today we have a focus on professional development, so how we've helped teachers develop, and then we have some other highlights. So I'm Emily Dittmar, the high school library media specialist. Michelle Roshine is our K-8, is our middle school tech integrator, and Tony Hainowski is our K-8 librarian and technology integrator. If you want to forward our slides here. And we are also led by our Chief Information Officer, Tony Spence. Also known as official photographer of the board, right? All right, so let's start out with this summer. So the TIL team was blessed to get some time at both the elementary and secondary level summer institute days. But we realized there's only 4 of us serving 200 teachers on each day. So how can we meet their needs? So we took a personalized approach. And we knew that we had to meet a diverse group of learners because our teachers, just like our students, are at different levels of comfort with technology. So we decided to flip the lessons for teachers. And in our presentation, we have the day's document where you can see 20 different lessons that we created so that teachers could learn at their own pace. We had different rooms signed up, and we were using the app Voxer, where if they had a problem, one of the team members could then run to the aid of the teachers, and we can give them that intense instruction that they needed during the day.
So as far as K-8 library, what we've done there is each week, kindergarten for 6th grade students have a 30-minute lesson in the library. So you can see 1 week it'll be an online resource, maybe reading a story to them another week. They all get internet safety. On this particular one, Mrs. Claushines made a video for one of the video club, so we added that in also. So this is their website, and it really, I changed it this year when we got a new website, and the kids were not very happy at all, and they let me know right away. They wanted the Wimpy librarian because that's what they had, and they needed her to be back. So we brought her back, and they're happy now. So part of, the next slide. So part of it is making our libraries a 24/7 program. So my little avatar, you can see her there, it has enabled me to communicate with all of my kids. They know who I am. They make the comment right away, hey, she's not wearing glasses. That's the only thing. They really freak out if I walk in a room and she's giving directions to an online resource, and if I talk and they just look in that, oh wow. So for the younger kids, helping them understand cartoon characters are not real, that I'm the real person, that has helped them. But you can see across the top, those are tabs, and those are different videos. So if a teacher wants to share an online resource with her class, she can do that. So this is basically, my PD is to make them look good so they can watch these video clips and then be able to share the information with their class or with their colleagues. So we have really come full circle now that we do have a 24/7 library program. So the middle schools, I started implementing a couple ways of doing personalized PD as well as flip PD. So one of my ways was 1-minute tech tips. I found that teachers
are really busy all the time, and it doesn't always work for them to come to a meeting before school or meet over their lunch. And having a 1-minute tech tip, I've recorded, I want to say around 15 so far this year, that I share out with the staff at both middle schools. They can watch the video. I give them really brief directions on how to do something, and then they can decide if this is a resource they want to learn more about. They set up the time with me, but it's just a way that I can share with them some great resources to use with their students in a very short period of time. So that's been really an effective way of getting into teachers' minds, different ideas, and then as well as menu PD. So every month at Bay Lane, we have a morning meeting, and I bring my ed tech menu of all kinds of different ideas. So if they're not sure of what they want to do moving forward in their lessons, or they want an idea for a unit, they can take a look through the different categories, and then those are all areas that I'm comfortable with helping them and guiding them on how to integrate those tools and resources into their classroom to make their lessons really engaging, real-world connections, and really cool products for the students to create with their one-to-one Chromebooks.
In the middle of winter, we took a look ahead into spring because we wanted to offer some professional development opportunities for our teachers. So the slide shows on the left side, we created a Google form so that we could survey the teachers and ask them what their needs were in the area of technology. And we based our questions off of our technology targets that we have, our K-12 technology targets, because we felt that if students are expected to do things, then professionally as teachers, we would want them to be able to do those same skills. So on the right side of the slide, you can see a sample of our results. The red and the orange slices on the pie chart show us that the area of greatest needs was in the area of multimedia presentations. And we defined that for the teachers to include putting in video, images, and animations into any multimedia presentation that they would want to do with their class or with their students. So based on that, we decided to set up some sessions at each school. Some were held today, April 18th, on our Professional Learning Day. And we got to work with some teachers K-12. And we have some that have been already held and will be held at the elementary level, and the dates are listed there on your slide. For each of our sessions, we are asking the teachers to self-rate themselves based on their skill level, so they can decide whether they're at more of a beginner or an intermediate level, and we have offerings that will meet their needs. We've also looked at the people who might rate themselves as a little higher level, and we've tapped into them, using them as a tech expert at our building level. So we're actually using some in-district teacher leaders in technology and some principals too, in addition to us helping the teachers through those things that they said that they needed more help on.
All right. So now look at some of the behind-the-scenes statistics. So what we've done this year. So between the four of us, we have, and these numbers were put together about 2 weeks ago, so that they've gone up. But there are 437 tweets for learning and sharing out what we know. We have circulated in all buildings 179,882 books and equipment. Interestingly, that is just about as even as the times our databases have been accessed, so those are our online resources, at just over 174,000. Okay. There are 871 apps managed between the iPads and the Chromebooks K-8. And we have offered over 604 hours of professional development and collaboration with teachers and staff. And we have 577 instances of team teaching within the classroom. Some other highlights are just snapshots of the year that we want to share with you. Okay, so something that I started working and collaborating with Cam Grow at Lake Danube around was registration videos. So students were registering for classes, and they wanted to get a better idea of what classes to pick. So Pam and I worked together to make 26 videos at Lake Danoon, highlighting what each Encore class would offer, what kind of projects would be involved, what kind of students might be interested in taking them, and we have those now on our new website so that parents and students can go through, get a little preview of the Encore classes, and make the best decision together of which course would be a good selection. And that is moving to the high school as well in the future. As mentioned before, I also work with the video club at both middle schools. And what's really nice about this year is we're taking that opportunity to create videos, not just for fun, but also to have purposes and connections back to the school day. So ones that we did at Baylane was about Chromebook care and how middle school students could maybe take some precautions and take care of their devices so that they wouldn't have to be turning it in for repairs as often. And then at that one was actually at Lake Danoon, and then the one on the right is from Baylane. We had some concerns about bullying taking place, so we had a group of girls put together this video kind of sharing how to act and how not to act in certain situations, and then this was shown in the classroom as a discussion point. So all the work that we do, even though it's after school, does tie back into the regular school day.
One of the new activities that's coming out in education is a Breakout EDU. So you have one box and 45 minutes to break out. So it's a new way of teaching. So you can see here, we have all of the high school students who have participated. And it's great for all age levels. Michelle, you want to go to the next slide? Because you can do it with middle school, elementary, and even our leadership team participated. And we'd be happy to run a session for the school board if you want. In our libraries for 7th through 12th grade, we've reorganized the fiction into a genre model. So you can see that our books are now arranged in 10 genres, including sports, realistic fiction, and relationships. And the kids have really responded well. They say it's so much easier to find the book that they want, and it's way better than before. So we're really happy with how we've had that consistent experience through 7th through 12 in our libraries to encourage the love of literacy and reading. We also have author visits coming, so you can see here we had Brendan Kiley, who is the co-author of All American Boys. He was able to do a Skype in with our book club. We also have authors coming to both middle schools and test corners later this year, so bringing in the author and that real-life experience of talking to someone who's written and giving more information on the books.
This year we have started coding clubs at our buildings. We started off with one club at Lake Danoon, and now it's grown that we've added one at each elementary school. So you can see we've got kids. The middle school kids are so cute because they got a bunch of equipment, and we partnered with the school and the tech department to get some equipment. And the kids, they want to make something jump and they want to make it spin and go around, and they have to code to do that. We started young. I worked with some kindergartners. They don't need to read, but the funny thing is they have to know left and right. So this little boy who I was working with in kindergarten, I could say to him, what's 69 plus 34, and boom, he could give it to me. But he didn't know left and right. So we had to practice that. So, and then we went so far on the right-hand side at Test Corners. These are second graders, and we first learned how to code, and then we added dot and dash, little robots that they can move. And what's really interesting with this group, we needed to take the information back, and I gave them assignments. We worked together. They created an iBook, and they shared it. We presented to the rest of their class, and then we start presenting to other classes in their building. So it's second grade, and what they were doing is really phenomenal. So we'll keep adding to it. I'm sure next year we'll do more, but the amount of equipment and things that are coming out for the kids, they weren't invented last year. So we have really been lucky to be able to fund and keep those things moving. Okay. And this is one of my passions this year. We got a 3D printer at each middle school almost a year ago. And I have a little trinkets I can show you. We started off, and I was behind the eight ball, I have to say. I didn't know a thing about it, but I teachers all go in. It's great at a middle school setting because I have the whole lesson set up and the kids first and you each have a keychain and your spot where a student had made them. Some kids know some of you, some were insistent because your daughters were in the wrong class. Really wanted to make yours so we got to have them and different kids coming in to make them. So that in the bottom right hand corner is our quality control. He didn't want to grow up and be a manufacturing engineer. And so he will sit with me once a week. We get together, we go through the prints, and we'll look at them, and we collaborate. And if there's some we have to send back some, we'll tweak for them. So it's kind of interesting. You've got a print over on this one because it's so interesting. It's the shadows made for the fashion and design or interior design class. So it's all over. It's just awesome to get them all with this technology, and they're not afraid of it. So it's very cool. And this little girl, I can pass some of these around. She made a skeleton, and that was the back of the chair. So as we progressed, I learned how to do double colors, so we could introduce that. You'll notice when I first started, I met with Karen L.R., who was the compass winner last year, and we made a plan of what middle schoolers should do before they got to her. And so tonight is good to see her. We're going to meet in May, what we're going to do for next year. So you can see, next I'll just take those two photos. But I become a better teacher as I learn more, so you'll see the difference in the print. The base teacher wanted to show texture, so I was able to do that. So there'll be a bunch of things I'll pass around to you. And then to end the presentation tonight, so they asked me if I'd like to do it from the end. So here's the first one, and then you follow the template. Answers all my questions, so you can do it. And I said, wow, what are you going to do with it? You must be really excited. And he said, yeah, for someone super special. Well, he's a sixth grade boy. I thought maybe he had someone special he wanted to give it to at school. I said, oh, really? Wow, they're going to be so excited. Oh, she's going to love it. I'm like, will you tell me who it is? It's Mrs. O'Brien. And she was so excited because that's what he had thought she would love, and he made her for it. She has in a place of honor. So for all of us in tech, we have passions with different things we do every day. We're lucky. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to come back and give you another report next year and share with you the things that haven't been invented yet. Thank you.
We on the other side, the president and the elected of the Muskego Valley School District, Rochester, King County. This town is certified that a referendum election was held in the district Senate Bill 2016 on the question of whether general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $43,180,000 education for the public purpose. A, the cost of a school building and improvement program consisting of constructing a new middle school on land owned by the district, constructing additions to and renovating Mill Valley Elementary School, renovating Bay Lane Middle School, and Country Meadows Elementary School, site improvements at Lakeview Elementary School, and furnishing fixtures and equipment. Following is a true statement of the total votes cast on the referendum in the election question filed with Rachel returns as certified to myself. The total returns canvas include the entire city of Norway and parts of the city of New Berlin within the Muskego Valley School District boundaries. The total no votes 4,952, yes votes 6,485 by the Board of Canvassers, Susan Lemberger, Kelly Peasley, and Chris J. Buckmaster, acting clerk, presiding. Item 2, statement of the Board of Canvassers for the school board candidate left in election. We, the undersigned members of the Board of Canvassers of the Muskego Valley School District, certify that the annexed tabular statement is true and correct as compiled from the radio returns made to the school district clerk by the several cities and town election districts that the school district of the election held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2016. The number of total votes given for the election of candidates for school board are as follows. Mr. Breckhide, 4,000. Mr. Breckhide, 5,776. Mr. Richard Falsky, 6,094. Write-ins, 110. By the Board of Canvassers, Kelly Beasley, Susie Lemberger, and Chris J. Buckmaster, acting clerk. That is the report of the Board of Canvassers. And next item, the statement of election and the oath of office to Mr. Breckhide and Mr. So I, Chris J. Buckmaster, acting clerk of the Muskego Valley School Board, hereby certify that Eric Falsky as chair of the property of Capital Health, year of fall 2016. Votes given as prior to election held on that date, favor of the ballot, was elected school board member of said district for a term of 3 years, getting on the 25th day of April 2016. Given under my hand, this was sealed. This pregnancy was done on April 2016. Have been duly elected to the school board, have been duly elected to the office of school board member. Smaller than. Have been duly elected to the office of school board. The school board member, Muskego Valley School District, but have not entered upon the duties thereof. But have not entered the duties thereof. For the term 2016, 2019 thereof. For the term 2016, 2019 thereof. Swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the States. Constitution of the Constitution of the State. And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office. And faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Yes, sir.
All right, so I have for 2 weeks ago, senior Sam Balsarek finished her gymnastics season, earning first team all conference as well as 3 medals at the individual state meet, and she also helped her team win its third team championship in the last 4 seasons. At state, she placed second on the floor with a 9.4 and second on uneven bars with a 9.3. Additionally, she took fourth all around with a 37.15. Also at the state meet, junior Abby Vachon, freshman Crystal Nelson, and senior Aaron Schultz earned an honorable mention. The MHS forensics team competed at the WFCA state tournament at UW-Whitewater. Clayton Kavanaugh was the semifinalist winner in oratory speaking, and Daphne Adamson was also semifinalist in special occasion speaking. FBLA held their 10th annual dodgeball tournament, and then Student Council held their annual senior citizen prom, which would be held at the Regency. And then last week, senior Caleb Wagner was named Classic 8 Conference Player of the Year. He averaged 22.2 points per game and led the team in assists with 4 per game. He also averaged 4 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 1.3 steals per game. Senior Maddie Farner also made the team, averaging 14 points and 11.3 rebounds. He shot 62% from the floor and also had 1.2 assists and 1.7 steals per game. Coach Capes also won Coach of the Year and led Muskego to their first state appearance in over 30 years. The girls varsity soccer team started off their season strong in their first home tournament, defeating New Berlin West and Nicollet. The girls track team competed at the Classic 8 indoor meet this weekend. Many girls placed, including Savannah Ergavich, who took 4th in the 55-meter dash. Jenna Letterman placed 3rd in the 800-meter run. The 4x200-meter relay team took 2nd, and the 4x400 relay team took 3rd. And then finally, Michaela Zlecki took 2nd in the shot put. And then the big highlight that I wanted to tell you guys about, I know I already sent it in to Dr. Thompson, but Student Council held the first ever charity week. So each day money was donated and given to a different charity, which included the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Feeding America, the American Heart Association, Soldiers Angels, and the World Wildlife Fund. As an incentive for students to donate, 12 staff members and teachers were split into 2 teams who competed against each other. After the money was counted, whichever team raised the most money gets to decide what the other team's teachers wears to school this coming Friday. And then the ideas for the costumes ranged from a gorilla suit to a wedding dress. The teams were as follows. Team Irvine was Mr. Irvine, Miss Jung, Mr. Bertrand, Mr. Troller, Mr. Passler, and Miss Michaels. And Team Dunbar included Mr. Dunbar, Mr. Rainey, Miss Lee, Mr. Matthews, Mr. Michaud, and Miss Loeffler Bell. And then students were able to make donations in the competing teachers' classrooms, at lunch, in the library, student services, or the administrative office. And then being our first year, our goal was to raise like $200, $300. Usually the first year of these things, they aren't too successful. But then after counting all the money Team Irvine raised $680.47. Team Dunbar raised $561.18, which adds up to a grand total of $1,241.65. And with this total, we were able to donate $248.33 to each charity, which is a huge success. I don't know. I'm friends with his daughter Kyler, and he was like, oh, I don't want to dress up. I don't want to dress up. And she texted me a few days ago and like he said he'd do it, but he's not going to tell me what it is. so the teachers that were on Team Irvine, they pick what the other team wears. So the other team doesn't have any control over it. So it'll be fun on Friday to see what they show up in. Yeah, it'll be fun. Good, it was fun. Yeah, I think I left here.
Motion to approve stop applying as the vendor for resanding the Gang of the Muskego High School Salantine gym floor at a cost of $32,000. Discussion. Yeah, I'm here to represent Chairman. We did meet with soccer for finalization today. There is some changes as the prices as you guys probably saw the pictures. Instead of having the white lettering around the border of the Muskego and the ends and home of the Warriors and the sidelines, it's gonna be a natural green wood lettering. The reason why is because the white lettering actually kind of dyes to like a reddish color, and it doesn't all pure white. So that's where we go. Correct, that was original first one through 2004. That has not been sanded down. Recommended between 8 to 10 years, 8 to 10 years to be sanded down for a competition floor like that. Yep. Definitely. Yes. Oh yeah. For junior warriors, we'll actually have a through cut line. We don't have to use any tape anymore. There's also tape that for Star Wars volleyball that runs it during this time of year for Park Rec. They use tape down. We'll have lines for that too. So that'll be done in May 9th, about 3 to 3.5 weeks will be completion. And any disruptions to the day as far as that end of the building with any of the dust or any of this stuff? No, that will be all just cleaned off. Sealed in that ventilation system will be shut off and they'll have their own ventilation and clean up and stuff. I did also. Yes, right. No concerns with using it. Right. All the activities for the next 3.5 weeks, all the bio classes will be outside. My plan is back in December, January, worked around that, the activities, and we just left the gym down for those 3.5 weeks. And no, I'll be ready for graduation. So. Where's the sheet of ice? Yeah, right. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Have a good night. Motion to approve the 2016-2017 calendar adjustment as stated. And we shifted that from the August 26th to August 25th. And then staff would have the option as whether or not they'd like to come in or if they're option for the 26th, which is what we did. So that would be the change that we're proposing and the reasons behind it.
And so the darker days are contract, professional development days, are the days that contracted them. The light gray days are days that non-teachers don't contract. So those are, so just take one away and you can have the next step.
We're just moving, or we're not adding. We're not adding. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to item 6C, donations. Motion to approve the following donations at Muskego High School. From Muskego Warriors Select Basketball to offset expenses for the coach trip to the WIAA State Tournament, $1,500. From Tango Photography for the musical production, $200. From Nancy Netchuk for musical production, $100. From Impro Corporation for the engineering and technology department, $1,000. And from Maxine Studio Dance for the Muskego High School Scholarship Fund, $300. So moved. Discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. We have item 7, discussion items, 2016 17 budget. Any questions for? Moving on to item 6 or 7B, master plan update.
So, the commission discussion that, have the family agenda items for discussion, to keep you up to date, with our efforts as we move forward with the, Parkland Basketball project. So, number one is just, we have a core planning team, which, for the department, we're invited to attend, as every other Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. Building advisory committees will be, established. The first two of them will start actually on May 5th, will be, Mill Valley renovations and additions and the new, middle school building, advisory committee is going to comprise of, staff members, administration, those who are, interested. We will also have a building advisory committee, set up for the Country Meadows renovation planning, and will include primarily Country Meadows corners, individuals, and then, the Lakeview, staff will, participate in providing input in the playground and parking lot planning. So that will also start in the fall or in August. We do have a small application that we'll, process through for anybody interested in participating. Full that to full staff, for advisory committee next week. But we do have meetings set aside in the week, for staff informational meetings specifically, looking for members of our Bailey staff and Mill Valley and Muskego Elementary staff will be part of this first, building advisory committee where we're really going to start to, design, the renovations in the valley and design at the, our new middle school, I should say. We also will be meeting with Country Meadows and Chestnut Stand on Thursday, April 1st, so that they, and that is just to let them know that we want to be part of the meetings and, give them some preliminary information, but that the actual advisory team will be starting until the fall. We'll also be meeting with Lakeview during their staff, just to give them an update on, we have other decisions that we need to make in a collaborative format, attendance boundaries and, school making aspects. And those are things that we're still planning for. We haven't rolled those out yet, but certainly, curious with each of the staff members, staff, information to staff meeting. We would like to question
Okay, so Christy and I will be providing this update for you tonight. In the board docs, there's multiple documents attached there. The one that we'll be speaking to initially is the science board update. That's the one that is the comprehensive overview. So beginning last year, as you know, our curriculum cycle takes each content area through the review process, which involves the plan, do, study, act model. And last year, science was in the plan phase. And so if you look at the chart down below on the first page of the document, it just outlines what the work is intended to be for each phase of that review cycle. And so at the conclusion of last year, we brought forward some recommendations about what it would look like for our work this year. That involved the comprehensive review of some piloting of some materials and some review of some textbooks and other things. And so this year, 2015-16, as part of the plan do phase, that is the work that was completed. The Science Steering Committee continued to meet, and Christy and I co-facilitated that team. We would start together, and then typically the way the meetings went, we would separate by level after some initial connections to ensure that we stayed cohesive K-12, that we're building a really solid program all the way up from kindergarten through high school. So if you would look to the recommendations as a culmination of the work, we had FOSS piloting taking place at the elementary and the middle levels. And the chart, which is at actually the top of the very first page, shows you who the representatives were on the Science Steering Committee. And so we had representatives from every level. And at the elementary level for our pilot, we made sure that we had representatives from every building as well, so that there would be representatives familiar with the resource and providing input. We're familiar with FOSS. It's what we've been using for, I believe it's 9 years now. And we've been very satisfied with the FOSS as a science instructional tool, and which is why we went with it from the start. And we were very pleased with the pilot. And as a result of the pilot, the following recommendations were made. And I think I should just remind the 3 areas, or the 2 areas from an elementary perspective at the end of last year that we needed to address was this the right resource to continue using? And so we piloted that next generation science standards aligned module series. And the other piece was, how are we going to address the time for teaching science? Because we began our review, almost 2 years ago now, with a survey of teachers around their science instruction. And what we learned was that they were struggling to actually fit all the science in because of many changes in the school day, the expectations of intervention, ITI, extended blocks for literacy instruction, and the list could probably expand from there. So that was one of our charges as we were working through the pilot. So again, I bring you back to the document now. I just wanted to kind of refresh your memory from where we left off at the end of last year. K4 recommends the following things: that we do adopt and implement the FOSS, next generation science standards, engineering practices, aligned modules. The scope and sequence of what is taught at each grade is right there for you. That's very similar to the grade alignment and topics currently, but there's just a few slight shifts where, for example, pebble, sand, and silt used to be with first grade, now it will be with second grade, but there's really minor changes in that way. The second recommendation is that we look to integrate informational disciplinary literacy standards into science instruction more explicitly. There's always been reading and writing as part of science, but we can actually more explicitly instruct towards the skills and strategies that we have done in the past. And by doing so, it alleviates some of the time needed during the literacy workshop itself for instruction. So it's just kind of a shift and a borrowing of time, but the piloters that implemented in that fashion were able to get through all of their science investigations, etc. And then the third one is just, again, to ensure that the elementary schedule is such that it accommodates weekly science instruction per DPI recommendations. While they don't have specific minutes that we are recommended to teach science, they do have the recommendation that we're instructing regularly. So.
And in grades 5 through 8, they currently use the FOSS science kit. And the recommendation is to adopt and implement the next generation version of those science kits for the next school year for 17-18. And in grades 5 through 8, the unit scope and sequence is listed there. That scope and sequence is slightly adjusted from current practice to better prepare students for biology as freshmen. That was a conversation we had back in November when we would now be recommending students to take biology instead of exploring science in the freshman year. At the high school level, we would be adopting and implementing textbooks for biology and accelerated biology for the 16-17 school year and align those courses with the state and ACT standards. Mr. Berry requested for a new course this fall, Accelerated Chemistry, so that will also be an addition for the 16-17 school year. And his course will be aligned to the Wisconsin State and ACT standards as well. And the work that they will be working on next year is determining chemistry and physics resources. In 2017, there are actually new resources coming out for those particular courses that is intriguing enough to the department they wanted to hold off a year before making a recommendation. Further work revolves around some skill gap analysis that was a product of last year's work, and now with new resources, they will be adjusting curriculum to address any of those areas.
Okay. Then if you look at the bottom underneath the recommendations, you will see the outline of the budget request. The costs outlined here, the first row for grades K-5 through 4, which would implement next year, there's the total amount. And I just wanted to point out, we really worked with the company to try and get the best price we could get. And they, after multiple back and forth, they gave us 50% off on the shipping. So we thought that was a nice reduction. You can see in the chart below that it's just broken up by grade, and then you can see how it, or not by grade, by school, and you can see how that splits out by building. The cost for a FOSS kit includes a teacher manual, student books, a class set of student books, starting in grades 3 and up. They're a hardcover text, so again, those informational reading skills and strategies can be taught there. It includes everything that the students will need for investigations, and so they're big boxes that has everything the teacher needs for that given topic and all the investigations within that.
And following that is the textbook request for the high school. Again, noting that grades 5 through 8 will be putting forward their recommendation of FOSS kits the following school year. If you recall back in November when the accelerated chemistry class was approved, Mr. Berry was planning on using his current textbooks, so there was no additional purchase for that class. But biology and accelerated biology, they will be requesting new textbooks for those two programs. One note, in biology, we have an unusually large bubble coming through of students, and rather than purchasing a 6-year e-textbook license for that large bubble, we're purchasing a 1-year, and then we'll adjust accordingly once we can see term data for enrollment. So next spring, we would be coming back with that revised e-textbook request.
And that's our update and recommendations at this point, if you have any questions.
So thank you for the update. So the budget, so I'm looking at the budget grades K, so 222, 254, and then just so that things came in 222, so that's 100, and then the accelerated biology we improved on the KBC, right? So that's
That was the accelerated chemistry.
okay. I guess so the biology and the accelerated biology then. So that's an addition to what budget was. So what exactly? How did that happen?
So the CPC brought forward accelerated chemistry in the fall, and that textbook request was brought to the board this spring, along with the other textbook requests. At that time, we were still working through the science recommendation, and I had noted that that textbook request included everything except for the science pieces that we were still working through. But because that was a new course, that was kind of following a different process.
So the biology and accelerated biology, that was a different process.
Right, because they were going through the PDSA cycle and evaluating their curriculum, and the chemistry course was a new addition to the course offering.
Did that come with the 30,000 or is that just that we didn't know, or is that just I'm just trying to understand how if we had 222.
The 222,000 is for the K-4 FOSS Next Generation Aligned materials. So that would be the total elementary budget for their FOSS materials. And then
biology, excuse me, my page is cut off. Yes, it's 25,295, I believe.
So the biology and accelerator for the high school.
Correct.
And within your budget, there's.
See, that's where I'm not seeing, I'm just seeing budget, so maybe that's the answer. I'm seeing the budget, what appears for the elementary school, and then I see a cost for the high school, I just don't see a budget. Yeah, so I'm not sure what.
Oh, it's just a continue. You know what, actually, it's all one chart. So the budget piece is really just that last column.
It goes to the second page.
Okay, I see the 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 3, the total.
Okay, so.
Of all three levels. Of all three levels. That was all three levels together.
Okay, so
Yeah, you know, it's split.
the elementary, and then those are for the 2 classes in the high school. Okay, so the 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 3 is the total.
Yes. Yes. No.
No, 252,295 is the high school.
You have to
And
add
the
those
actual
three up.
cost was 24.
That's what
Right, breaking it down. Yes.
maybe it was just the shifting of the screens that caught me. I was like,
Yeah,
You know what? Yeah. It would have been easier if that chart was all on one
okay,
page.
thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
I've got one, cross section, I know especially in the elementary, so I want to think like tips and stuff. One of the issues that we've had with this, or obviously we'll be addressing in a few years, but in the meantime,
Yes. Yes. So that was some of the details that the pilot committee talked about and that I've been talking with the elementary principals about. But one thing is, well, first of all, just speaking of the kits that we currently have, the first thing is to look at what is it that we can still save, and we have a chart going of that, and so where it will serve helpful moving forward. And we're going to be requesting that on the last day of school, they shift those resources to the appropriate place within their building. And then what is the place? For example, at Muskego Well, where they are really tight on space, they're already starting to clean out some space, which will actually serve as helpful when the time comes to move. So that space is an issue in some buildings, not in every building. I know at Lakeview and some of the other schools, the teachers are able to house those kits right in their classroom, and then do some sharing across, the way as needed. But, yeah, so it's going to look a little bit different, I guess, is maybe the answer, but everybody is making ready for the items.
just so they can find you. Yeah, curriculum and having all this stuff all of a sudden and not thinking where it's going.
Right, and like I said, the adjusting, if there was a kit that got, a topic that got shifted to another grade, those things are being moved, but kept.
So there's a plan back for action.
Yes.
Thanks for all the work.
Thank you.
Moving to item, draft performance.
So, our key performance objectives are sort of the 9,000 foot, goals that we set that really make all of our metrics fall underneath. And so we have a process that starts really at our mid-year review, and, the first attached, document shows that process. Step one is to really go through that mid-year progress report, kind of determine where we're at, how we're progressing in March. We also look at what's called a SWOT analysis from the cabinet view at each department, looks at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We determine priorities from there. We also have long-term reflection. We have three-year plans for each of the building levels, elementary, middle, high, and then each of the departments. And we look at that, how we're progressing toward our long-term goals. And
in our strategic 3 to 5 year strategic plan, documents that help us identify where we want to be in 3 or 5 years. So we continue to analyze those. And so from that, we created draft 2016-17 key performance objectives, which you see in the multicolored area, which represents our four core competency areas or focus areas that we've done for teaching and learning is the red. The orange is continuous improvement. The purple is highly effective personnel, and the green is the strategic allocation or the self-stewardship area. So we have those four. I'll go through them in a second. After we create our key performance objectives, from there we continue to work through this year's IM goal. At the end of the year, we analyze our IM goal, essentially close that out, and then we work on creating our 2016-17 IM goal, which again, our metrics will fall under our key performance, our KPOs, our key performance objectives. We'll also work on action plans and our progress monitoring. So that all comes in the summer. So this is really our first major step in our developing our annual strategic plan for 16-17. So we have a couple of other documents just as a reminder. Our second document is how our 15-16 gets communicated out to our public. This is our eye on the goal, our annual strategic plan that reminds our public of our vision and our mission, our four focus areas, our metrics, and on the second page are our outcome measures. So you'll see our KPOs in each one of those four areas, and then the metrics that we measure against to make sure that we are continuously moving toward that. The third document that's attached is the actual draft 2016-17 KPOs restated, but kind of put into context of what each of those four areas really represent. So our mission, our vision, and our values are at the top, or beacons. Under exemplary teaching and learning, our long-term goal is to be a top 3 district for student performance in Waukesha County. Our KPO for this year is listed, increased reading achievement and growth for all students. And then our draft 16-17 KPO is listed. The current metrics are also listed on there, so you can see that. And that mimic them for each one. Just a couple things to highlight. As you can see, the current KPO for exemplary teaching and learning has achievement and growth. We just moved growth down to the orange section of continuous improvement, and the draft 16-17 KPO for under continuous improvement in our sections to ensure annual academic achievement growth for all students. Under the highly effective personnel, our long-term goal, a destination workplace for high-performing staff. Our draft KPO is that all staff promote a positive work environment through active engagement and growth opportunities in the work. And then under the green area, or stewardship, our long-term goal is to strategically allocate our resources, and the KPO for that area is to deploy alternative revenue sources and our master plan solution. So again, this is the first step in our process. And so in this discussion item tonight, we're bringing back our KPOs for action on May 2nd. Questions? Certainly another component of the annual plan is board goals. And so
So in the board docs, I included the PowerPoint that was prepared. We had informational sessions for all of our staff last week. We went to all the buildings last week, plus at the ESC. We'll be hosting one more for the retirees that are still on the health plan as we move forward. But that PowerPoint gives more detail to you on all of kind of the ins and outs of the clinic and who can use it and cost to them. We're starting out at 20 hours per week. Again, that's based on the number of people that we potentially have utilized the clinic. Our proposed schedule right now is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays from 7 to 1, and Fridays from 7 to 1, and then Wednesdays from 9 to 6. We'll have some early sessions and some later evening appointments as well. We have cleared the physician's assistant and the medical assistant. And we're also supposed to get a phone call there. I know, if you remember when we first started talking about the clinic, we talked about partnering with other school districts, with, the opportunity to maybe expand usage. Now that we're almost up and running now, we're starting to get some calls from those districts again. So there may be partnership opportunities coming forward in the future. But right now we're set to open May 23rd. And more information will be sent out to staff. One of the requirements for the clinic is that they have to have a health risk assessment done. And so that information will be the next kind of step that we'll be taking and getting those health risk assessments done in May.
This was really well received actually from our staff. It was really enjoying everyone to talk about something innovative and something that is a win-win now, for the district and for the employees. And it was just, they embraced it, and it was very positive. Julie did a great job. Meeting that and health staff is a really wonderful organization. You see the logo. The logo, the first part of that was the M and the W was students designed that 2 years ago. Was 2 years ago, and we really began to get going with our wellness efforts. So we just incorporated that into the
We're calling it the LNS Center for Health and Wellness because there are a lot of Muskego health and wellness centers in Muskego that we didn't want to mirror name, so we had to get a little creative. And staff did say, like Kelly said, it was really nice for you to come talk to us and not tell us you're changing our insurance or cutting things out of the budget. So nice to get good news.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing updates on
Yes, health
lives and all savings that we're in from
health staff really great reports that we'll start using right away.
So I take it the health risk assessment is required.
It is required to use the clinic.
Is that something that we put in place, or is that something that with well staff?
Health staff? Yeah, health staff manages that process. So they bring a team in to manage because they're really responsible for all the health information. We don't ever see specific health information. We're just seeing the results of what's coming through. So their team comes on site. We're actually going to have the health risk assessment at 5 different sites. Plus we'll open the ESC on a Saturday because we are requiring for any employee on the health plan that has dependents on the plan, the dependents can use the clinic as well. But if they're the spouse, they have to have a health risk assessment also in order to use the clinic. So
is that our requirement, or is that something that
it's our requirement. We have to set a baseline if we want this to be more of a wellness center.
So if somebody had like a sinus infection, say they want to use the clinic, they haven't done the EHR yet. Can it be something that they
can go to the clinic and do it? It's just going to be a longer appointment than an in and out. It'll be about a 15-minute appointment instead. They'll have to go through that health risk assessment first. But they will
it only
be
takes about half an hour then to do the health risk assessment.
Actually, they're set up in 15-minute intervals. So if they come the week that we have the teams here, because there's a number of teams set up throughout the district, it'll be 15 minutes. We're going to send out information and a questionnaire they have to fill out. They can do that in advance, so it'll help speed up the process. So it's height, weight, blood pressure, 1 vial of blood, and that questionnaire, and they're done.
Okay, so it's not just a regular visit.
No.
You fill out the card. Thank you. What's your question? Yes, sir.
Let's go to the microphone. No, actually, no, you're fine.
If you're being covered, why doesn't everybody have to do a health risk assessment as part of the wellness for the overall organization? Why is it just people who use it back there have? You're missing 50, 60, 70, 80% of the people. Doesn't everybody need to have a health risk assessment at some point in time so that they all know whether they're healthy or not healthy and what's done about it?
Yes, we haven't had one yet for all staff. This is our first step in bringing in health risk assessments. So we are doing it right now in hopes that we grab enough people. In the future, as we look at our plan year, which comes up September 1st, it may become a requirement for any
saves money.
Like I thought that was the requirement. So it's just the requirement.
Well, it's a requirement for anybody who wants to use the clinic, but any employee who wants to come in for a health risk assessment, they can. We're not making it mandatory this year, but in the future, that will be something that we look at. If they're on the health insurance, yes.
Or you said, so we have a self. So it can be.
It can be if they're on the health plan and you can incentivize it by charging people less or more based on what they take. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna take that back. I don't know if we can mandate a health risk assessment, but we can incentivize it. Yeah, I don't know that we can mandate it though.
So,
Any other questions? Anything you don't have policy revisions?
So every 6 months, we need a list of policies and HEs that are revised. As a reminder, the policies come to you in a discussion format, then action, and then consent action. And the HEs will come discussion and the next time action. They don't come forward in a third time under consent. So these are the lists. Again, the changes are highlighted for you and either struck out as the language is removed or bolded if it's new language. So we'll take any questions that anybody might have.
I've got one. It's just a question, and maybe we're required to have this done because of the feature that passes, but I noticed in this case, the get caught like an extra, so there's like 3 items that are essentially the same. Is it just as easy to say, see this and one conflict of interest, and then is this like a burden that have to administer the same thing 50 times? Or is that required, or required to do that?
It's just the way you utilize it.
Okay.
So in order for us to maintain consistency with the organization that's supporting us, but could we do it differently? And maybe in a few years we'll find that we know that these policies mean the same thing.
Yeah,
There's a reason.
Yeah, there are certain ones where the language is slightly different if you're professional versus support in certain cases, not all, but you're right.
I mean, as long as it's caught, there's a mechanism to the right that'll catch all this, so, okay, that's fine, thank you.
So Disney, when we see these, is this all Neola language? Not always. So you might recall back in January, or a year and a half ago, or whenever we started bringing these forward, there are some policies that we kept our own, you know? Yeah, but I'm talking specifically about these. Oh, these particular ones, most of them, yeah. So I'm gathering that somebody in some office somewhere in Neola is just doing this, dumps it into our system. Somehow. No. So what they do is they give us the hard copies. These are suggested changes. Okay. These are the reasons why. So actually, bringing up that question, I could also upload the document that they say why we're making those changes. So that might help. So I'll do that for the next one. So that you can see some of the changes will be based on state statute changes or clarity, or that they just change. So someone here is inputting the change. Yeah, then we have it all divided out as we did, you know, I have the 000. So then we do our own policies, you know. So similarly, someone before these go into final version is going to proofread them, right? Because they're pretty messy right now. Okay. Yeah. As they, yellow, as the yellow comes out in the, yeah, there's just like old words and sections that are missing, or goofy. Okay. And if you have numbers that you'd like us to take special attention, then not just give us the changes, right? These are the policies that we need to have. It seemed to be much more, I don't know who's in charge of administrative guidelines, but it seemed to be much more in the administrative guidelines. Okay.
All of us, we each share in the part. Okay. So it's all. You all have answers. I like shared leadership. You're all going down.
I'm not going down to the river.
Numbers, not a word person, I'm okay.
Any other questions on policy revisions before we come back here? We have item G, administrators guidelines and revisions. Any comments on this one? Following up, moving to item E, information follow-up. Item 2, closed session. Favor moving to closed session or matters related to public business. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in closed session after a short break.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, have a good night.
He's gonna go home. Probably been done homework.
You'll see him as you have access to it.
Guys,
No one else knows.
The attachment. Not sure why.
Have a good night. Good night.